Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is, it's August the 12th, 2017. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know what? People here know that I'm expecting Floyd Mayweather to beat Conor McGregor by KO, by stoppage. I don't expect this fight to go the distance, right? It's a 12-round fight, folks. Conor McGregor in MMA has gone 3 rounds and has gone 5 rounds. I think this is a completely different world for him. Well, Conor McGregor is so confused. He's been so misled that lately everything he said is backwards. Let's talk about 2 of his recent comments, right? He's striking me as a guy who's extremely naive. So, Conor McGregor has said that he's going to enter the ring in the 170s, right? The contracted weight is 154. He's telling you that he's going to gain at least 16 pounds after the weigh-in, right? And according to Conor, Floyd Mayweather is going to be too small, right? Too small to deal with him, right? McGregor claims he's going to end the fight in the 1st or 2nd rounds. Now let's point out the obvious. If this guy studied boxing history, right, he would know that middleweight champion Stanley Ketchel once decked heavyweight champion Jack Johnson, right? He would know that Henry Armstrong at one point had titles in 3 different weight classes, and when he fought in the heaviest weight class, he wasn't even at that weight. He would know that Ezzard Charles was a light heavyweight, killed a man, decided that he was going to then start fighting at heavyweight, and ended up beating heavyweight Joe Louis, ends up winning the heavyweight championship. Right, folks? Let me just put it to you this way. If Conor McGregor, and in a previous video I talked about the weight problems he's going to have. If Conor McGregor makes weight and then hydrates up to the 170s, and I know he's still in his 20s, understand he's going to be too big to be competitive. He's going to be too big and too slow. Right? Can we agree, even the McGregor people watching this video, that Floyd Mayweather is going to have a decided hand speed advantage in this fight? Decided. So now Conor McGregor, a guy who's never gone 12 rounds, folks, he hasn't gone 6 rounds. He hasn't gone half the distance that this fight is scheduled for. And he's fighting a guy who has never been stopped. In fact, who has never lost as a professional. So you're telling me that Conor McGregor, who already is the slower-handed guy, right? He's a slower-handed guy at 154, folks. You're telling me that with the extra weight, which in my opinion is going to make him even slower, he's going to be able to compete with Floyd Mayweather? Is this a joke? Also, just to understand, that extra weight, in addition to slowing him down, isn't that extra weight also going to kill his stamina? I had my doubts on whether he could go the distance at 154. Now he's going to come in up to 20 pounds heavier. At least 16, because he claims he's going to be in the 170s. Not 170, 170s. Right? So we're talking about 16 pounds and up. You really think gaining 16 pounds after the weigh-in is going to help his stamina? Let me say this too. Guys with size. Being boxing fans, we're accustomed to seeing guys who know how to use their size to their advantage. So, Big George Foreman used to lean on guys, right? He'd get close enough, and keep in mind, Big George Foreman, professional boxer, had an Archie Moore type defense. Foreman would literally get up on you and lean on you, right? You'll notice Vladimir Klitschko against Alexander Povetkin, getting Povetkin under his armpit and then leaning on him. Right? Certain boxers know how to throw their weight around without throwing punches. They come in, they figured out that they can lean on you. They can bully you, right? Catch you on a shoulder, bully you, lean on you, have you bearing their weight for several rounds, softening you up for the knockout. Now, I know on television, when we saw Big George Foreman leaning on guys, it looked easy to do, right? It just looked like one fighter getting close to the other fighter, then just leaning on him, right? You see Vladimir Klitschko get a guy under his arm and lean on him, and you think, oh, anybody can do that, right? If I fought Alexander Povetkin, when he comes in, I can pivot, have him under my arm, and I could lean on him. I could lean on the back of his neck. Folks, that's an advanced boxing skill. How do I know? Because we all see young fighters starting out in their first few fights. You're watching a boxing card on, one of these stations, ESPN or what have you, and there's an undercard. And sometimes these undercards will have really young guys making their professional debut, or, guys with records of 2-0, 3-0. And as you watch them, you understand that some of the things you see in more experienced fights, right? Fights involving more experienced fighters, you don't see with the young guys, right? The young guys don't do George Foreman type moves. They don't know how to come over and lean on you, make their size an issue, right? Conor McGregor, coming from the MMA, right, isn't going to know how, in a boxing ring where you can't use your feet, how to cut off the ring. That's another skill we overlook, right? How to cut off the ring. Keep in mind, McGregor's past is in octagons. He doesn't have experience in a boxing ring, right? You watch guys like Marvin Hagler cut off the ring on you, right? Avni Yildirim, the guy who is about to fight Chris Eubank, cut off the ring on an opponent. And you think, hey, anybody can do that. Anybody can't. Right? They're elite fighters. Go back and look at Ali against Liston. Sonny Liston, heavyweight champ. Liston couldn't cut off the ring at Ali. Ali moved too well. You're telling me Conor McGregor, at 170 pounds, possibly more, right? He said the 170s. You're telling me Conor McGregor at 170 pounds is going to have the foot speed and boxing savvy to make his size an issue and to cut off the ring on Floyd Mayweather so that he can really treat Mayweather like the smaller man? Folks, how many people back in the 60s tried to cut off the ring on Muhammad Ali? Aren't there fighters today, Hughie Fury, who every opponent is trying to slow down and cut off the ring on the guy, and they've been unable to? This fight's even worse. Understand, as McGregor tries to cut off the ring on Mayweather, I need to have you consider the possibility that that's what Mayweather wants. Isn't Mayweather a guy who was able to comport himself well, leaning on the ropes against Marcus Maidana? Where was Mayweather when he caught Ricky Hatton with that check left hook? Wasn't he leaning on the ropes? Look at Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao. Aren't there moments in that fight where Mayweather's on the ropes and Pacquiao, an offensively blessed fighter, decided, let me back away from Mayweather on the ropes because I know it's futile over there, trying to hit Mayweather on the ropes. Right? In fact, isn't Mayweather's game what he does? Isn't it to convince opponents that they can bum rush him? That they can come over and throw big punches? That they can find him in the ring? And then to hold them on a shoulder, outbox them? Isn't the person who has the advantage when Mayweather's back is up against the ropes Floyd Mayweather? Hasn't Mayweather basically perfected what Ali did in the Rumble in the Jungle against George Foreman, the rope-a-dope, where Ali's up on the ropes, George Foreman's in front of him, but yet Ali's winning rounds before the knockdown. Right? So here, I get the feeling that Conor McGregor, coming from a different sport, thinks that extra weight and bully tactics is going to work when he doesn't even know how to throw his weight around in a boxing ring and hasn't proven to any of us that he has any idea on how to cut off the ring in a boxing contest. Right? Mayweather has a multitude of choices. He could either, move like he did against Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Right? By the way, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, southpaw. Right? Those of you who feel that Mayweather somehow is going to be bewildered against a southpaw seem to be overlooking the fact that Mayweather has beaten championship level southpaws. Isn't Manny Pacquiao a southpaw? Right? Mayweather's beaten southpaws, quite frankly, who have brought a lot more to the table. A lot more experience in a boxing ring. A lot more hand speed than Conor McGregor. So if Mayweather wants, he could either dance and move like he did against Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Right? If he does that, I'm just telling you, Conor McGregor is going to be so tired after 5 or 6 rounds that he might just fall down without Mayweather even landing punches against him. Right? Maybe he quits on his stool. Isn't that how Sonny Liston lost his title to Ali? Right? Ali's moving so much. Here's Sonny Liston trying to catch up with him. Can't do it. Can't do it. Is embarrassed. Understands that he doesn't have the stamina to go the distance even with the heavyweight title on the line. And then he quits on his stool. Right? Somebody tell me how Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. lost his fight to Andres Fonfara. Isn't this pretty much the same type thing? Right? He tries to run in, he can't do anything, he's embarrassed, he's out of shape, he's carrying extra weight. Right? Doesn't he quit on his stool? Right? If McGregor is unlucky enough to find Mayweather, let's say Floyd decides to hang out by the ropes, hoping that McGregor is as stupid as Ricky Hatton was in running over and trying to bully Floyd over by the ropes. What I want people to do is to go back and Google Ricky Hatton's comments after that fight against Floyd. Now, let me just say, Ricky Hatton on the inside in boxing, I'm guessing, in his prime, brought much more to the table in that part of his game than did Conor McGregor. Right? Floyd's been in the ring with an adept guy with an inside game. Right? Floyd's over at the side of the ropes. He just times it. Ricky Hatton hits the canvas twice. Wasn't Hatton unbeaten at the time? Right? So here, Conor McGregor acts like the size of the guy in the fight is all that matters. He seems to think that by being bigger than Floyd, wasn't Oscar De La Hoya bigger than Floyd when they fought? Am I correct that De La Hoya did not even want to be weighed on fight night when he fought Floyd Mayweather? You don't think Floyd Mayweather at the Mayweather gym, how many championship level fighters fight at that gym? You don't think that he hasn't been in the ring with middleweights and super middleweights? Let's talk about some other McGregor comments, right? McGregor, and he's charismatic in interviews. He makes the point that in MMA, they don't rely on the refs. Right? Now that's funny coming from a guy who has tapped out 3 times in MMA contests. But let's ignore his 3 losses. Let's play along, right? He's putting on a show, he's on stage, he's an Ali figure. Okay. You know, he's entertaining. Great. All right. Yeah, that's right. Let me follow the logic here. Right? In MMA, they don't rely on the refs. Right? They're tough. You're going to get hit all over. Guess what? You can't hit Floyd below the waist, folks, in a boxing match. At least not legally. Right? You can't. Also, there's going to be a referee in the fight, and he's not going to allow either guy to hit the other with elbows. Right? He's not going to allow it. He's not going to allow wrestling moves in the ring because this is a boxing match. So I'm not sure what point Conor McGregor is making. Right? There's going to be a referee. Let me also say this too. The whole idea of clinching, and that's going to be crucial in this fight. Because McGregor, again, hasn't made it past the 5th round. Do you think McGregor is going to know how to clinch Floyd Mayweather? Keep in mind, Mayweather has the faster hands. Right? Do you think when they're inside and McGregor understands that he can't use the lower half of his body and that he can't do things, use an elbow, use a forearm like he does in MMA, when he realizes that there is a ref looking at the action, how is he going to wrap up both of Floyd Mayweather's arms to get a breather in the fight? Folks, he's not. He's not. Let's go one step further. You're an MMA fan. You know Conor McGregor likes to hit guys from distance, don't you? Right? That's his game. He likes to extend his arms when he makes contact. Isn't a McGregor big punch one where he's able to lean into it from distance? How do you know whether he's going to have any power whatsoever when he's unable to fully extend his arms? Right? Isn't there a possibility that the only guy who's able to land power shots up close is a professional boxer who has done so his career? Right? As I've said, I'm expecting Floyd Mayweather to have a field day landing left hooks on this southpaw. Right? Mayweather's left hook is sudden. He doesn't need a lot of room to throw it. I don't think Conor McGregor has an answer to that punch. So, forgive me. I hear Conor McGregor is going to come into the ring in his 170s. That's laughable to me. You're going to have a big, slow guy with no boxing experience, with no track record of cutting off the ring, hell, no track record of being in a ring, right? Trying to deal with a much faster guy with better foot speed, who's a master in the middle of the ring and who's a master on the side of the ring. right? This is a mismatch. I'm expecting McGregor to fall like a tree because he's coming in the 170s. We'll say fall like a redwood in this one. I like Floyd by KO. I give McGregor an A+ on selling the fight. But what he's saying to me makes no sense, right? Didn't Jack Dempsey knock out Jess Willard? Right? How effective a heavyweight was Primo Carnera? Right? Being the bigger man in the ring. Being the bigger man in the ring. Does it always work out? How many men who were physically bigger than Mike Tyson did Mike Tyson mow down in the 1980s? Right? And all I'm saying is that those guys were all professional prize fighters. Those guys did this for a living. Right? Here you have an MMA guy trying to make the jump to boxing. Right? Folks, this is not going to end well for him. Mayweather by KO. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. If these guys give more ridiculous interviews where they're saying things like, hey, I'm going to enter the ring in the 170s, he's going to be too slow, then I'll be back online here talking about this fight. Just understand that McGregor is going to have a hard time. When I hear a guy saying, I'm going to enter the ring in the 170s, that tells me he's going to have a hard time making 154. Right? It tells me his body's going to be under a lot of stress between the weigh-in and the fight because he's literally going to rehydrate more than 16 pounds. Right? It also tells me that stamina is going to be an issue. I'm just telling you that when guys yo-yo in weight, right, their bodies just aren't in the best of shape in the later rounds. And of course we know Mayweather has a career of experience dealing with the later rounds. Conor McGregor has none, right? And all of this talk about how tough MMA guys are not relying on refs, that doesn't matter because there is going to be a referee in the ring. Right? Boxing rules apply, not MMA rules. Some of the things Conor McGregor can do in MMA, he won't be allowed to do here. No elbows, no forearms, no leg kicks. Everyone's shin is safe, etc. So I like Mayweather by KO. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. If you have some comments on McGregor's latest comments or on Mayweather's latest comments, I hope you leave them in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.